All right. Good evening, Elements family. This is Coach Justin here with you, doing some basic gi jiu-jitsu for you guys at home. Stuff you can practice. That's just like I said, it's pretty basic, trying to be basic stuff here. No super advanced chaining situations that require lots and lots of effort and practice. This is just stuff that you should be able to learn as you go. So today we're going to finish up our class with the turtle position. And so what I'm going to show today is I'm going to show a part 2 on how to get a hook in if they're being difficult, as well as some other positions you can go to from here to advance your game. So let's get started. Okay. So as I've said before, with your opponent, when they're in turtle position. So this is a position that they'll move into once as a way to escape, from a position. So I might go into turtle from side control. I might even escape to turtle when someone has my back. So because I feel more comfortable there, or if somebody's passing into I'm on bottom and someone's passing my guard to get into side control, I might immediately go to my knees. Or if I'm in a half guard and someone is being stubborn, sometimes it's best to come up to turtle. So there are lots of reasons to come to turtle, and those I've covered to some degree in my other videos. I don't know if they're all on there, but a lot of them are. So just to reiterate some of the basic concepts for you guys. When you're on top turtle, you have to think of their back as a quadrant set up into 4 parts. So the spine is one half of that quadrant, and underneath the armpits is the other half. So when you're in front, there's a front shoulder, 2 front shoulder quadrants and 2 hip quadrants. All right. Now, when you're inside a quadrant, your chest is inside a quadrant. For control, because there are times you're going to take your hands out and move, but for control, you want to have the quadrants next to you contained. Okay. So if I'm over here, this quadrant, so this is their right shoulder, right? I'm going to be one hand in this quadrant here. So this is the, get Bob in a better position here. This is the other shoulder, and this is the armpit side. And so if I'm in this quadrant where it's this shoulder here, I want to be here like this. Okay, so this arm goes over this shoulder, this arm goes underneath, and so I'm controlling underneath this armpit and underneath this shoulder. All right. Also, I also need to worry about my leg positioning as well, as I've talked about before, because I want to sprawl backwards in some shape, and you can either do a strong sprawl where someone coming in with both hands. So I'm in a strong sprawl like this. So I'm up on both feet. Or I'm going to sort of tricky sprawl, which is the knee that's nearest the head can stay inside and the back leg turns out. So if I'm over here like this knee is nearest the head, this back leg can turn out like this. Okay, hopefully you can at least see that part of the angle. And the reason being, again, is that if my opponent tries to grab my leg, and my nearest one is inside like this, and he tries to grab this leg, it's real easy for me to climb over and grab that arm and crucifix. So you're kind of setting them up by doing this, but you're also being able to create pressure here. And this arm blocks this arm from grabbing this side. So if the head's over here, and I'm here like this, and I'm like this, and somebody reaches in to grab my foot, that's okay, because then I can come inside and grab for a crucifix position there, okay? And remember, again, when you think about doing the turtle, you're like, you ever think, oh, I'm not very good at the turtle, I want to practice that. One thing you should be practicing is switching from one side to the other, okay? So like if I was here and I have this back leg out and I'm here, when I want to go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing this over, and I'm actually just going to drop this knee inside and pivot, okay? See how I did that? So now this knee is on the mat inside, and I'm over the body like this. This knee's out here to keep from being attacked, right? So I can actually do some fun pivoting out here. So if I'm here, so remember I'm in hip quadrant with my chest. So I'm in underarm here, underhead here like this, all right? So I can actually switch back just by going like this. And that's one pretty easy thing you can practice. I would add the detail that bring this hand behind this arm when you do this. So if I'm here, right, and I want to switch, I'm going to bring this hand underneath as I switch, and now come back over and go again. The other direction, it's not such a big deal, but it's real easy on somebody just to be able to switch knees back and forth like that, okay? And again, if you feel uncomfortable, a good sprawl is another way to do that. So even from here, like let's say I wanted to get all the way over to the other side. So I'm here like this. I'm just going to sprawl back, keep my hands sort of free until I want to go, and then put that knee inside. And now I'm here like this, okay? So you see how I did that just on my toes, going all the way around. Okay. So I would just practice that around the body just to make sure that you have, you know, the feeling right. You know, when you put pressure on their back correctly, when you put pressure in their set in their middle back, it's real hard for them to move one way or the other. So if you keep that pressure, move to one side, and maybe you want to go to the other side, you know, play around with it a little bit, get a feel for it. We're all trying to figure out our own games here, and this is just one of the possibilities. But the turtle move, the sprawl and move should be in your repertoire. If somebody goes there, you should know how to handle that scenario and what to potentially do in that scenario. So I will let you know that it's not my favorite position, but because I don't get into it very often, so I haven't really tried to narrow down my moves, right? But if I start to really think about it, I think I could come up with a move set that I could just try in that position and really try to focus in on that and feel much more comfortable there if I do that, which is the whole point of the basics class, is to teach you the basics and to give you move sets to work with. Okay, so this is so I'm going to do another way to get a hook in, and then some transitional stuff for people who maybe go, well, I don't like the back, so I'm going to go someplace else. I want to go someplace else, and that's fine. All right, so we talked about this a little bit yesterday about how to get the how to take the back, and I'm gonna adjust Bob here a little bit to try to give you a better position for this side, so I can show it from this side. And again, I can think of a couple people who helped me with these moves, so shout out to Christopher Ho and Warren Brooks, one of our kind of former affiliate, black belt. I mean, he is affiliated with us, but he moved to Kentucky. So they were kind enough to pass along knowledge in various ways, and this is one of them. So when you're in turtle position on the bottom and a guy's on your back like this, one of the things that they want to do is to get a hook in, right? Because then get a hook in, then they can take your back, and it's actually easier to, well, for a lot of guys, easier to finish from a back position. So a lot of times, because people will, you know, when they're in here defending, they'll get their knees up, down as low as they can, and they'll get their elbows in as tight. And then now, see how I've made that connection there? There's real hard, there's no space for a leg in there, right? So there's two ways that are really useful for taking the back from that position. All right. One way is you're going to put a knee on the back of the arm. So if Bob, for example, was in here real tight, right? So his knee's up here like this, and his elbow's down here like this, and I couldn't get my foot in there. What I can do is I can take my knee and put it on the back of their arm and drive down. And as I do that, it opens up the space here, right? And then once that space is open, I can control it a little better until I can get my foot inside, right? So if I'm here and I open up this space a little bit, then I can at least get my foot inside and start to get my foot down here like this for that move. That's one way. We talked a little bit about that yesterday. And that works pretty well for guys who have good pointed knees. I have, as you can see, thicker knees. So we call these, sometimes we call them big guy moves. And that's what I like to call this one. That one was, like I said, Christopher Ho. This one is Professor Brooks move. So when you're in tight like this, right, you can't get that leg in. What you want to do is, the first thing you want to do is you want to control this side without having to grab anything. Okay, so usually you're going to punch into the in between the legs. All right, so I'll show it from the other side. So if the leg is here, I'm gonna punch down like this, because one of the ways that people get out of these moves is to bring this leg through. So if I'm on his back and I go like this and I punch down, then that keeps my opponent from coming and sitting through, right? And I'm going to be here. So the next thing I want to do then, once I've gotten this established, remember this is the control position. So I've got the control. I've established my control, and I was here, I had my hands together till I got the control I wanted. Then I'm going to switch this hand to a punch. Then this hand is going to go inside, and it's going to go across to this arm, because most likely he'll be here like this, right? So this hand here goes underneath this arm, so they'll be tight. And you're going to go underneath this arm, reach across, and you're going to slowly lift this arm up like that. Now, once you've got that arm lifted, your legs, you're open for that hook. So now, and I'd show you guys for throwing it in, but heavy bag's here, so I can't really get it in there. But once that arm gets out of the way from that tightness, then you can throw that leg inside and set up your next set of moves, right? So, and then the other thing that you could try if you're a bit faster is if you were here, right, and you got this side open, some people sometimes will jump all the way over and get this hook in here like this, and then set in like this. All right, that's okay as well, but you do risk a rollover right there, and if you roll over right there, you might end up in a worse position. Because imagine, so if I get over this person, I start to bring this leg over, and they roll, they're going to roll, their hips are going to go this way, I'm facing this way, and what happens? They're on my back. So most people don't step over that way, just because of that potential for that that flip over. So it's best to try to fight the hook in on one side, and try to get that hook in, then then I would, if it were me, pull them down. So one more time for people at home. you want to get that hook in, or one way to get that hook in besides using your knee on the back of the forearm. So I just came in here, and I'm like this. I'm going to punch this fist kind of behind into their knees, because his knee is going to probably be up pretty high like this. So I'm going to try to get that inside his knee. And I can hook as well if I want. I mean, I probably would do this just because it would be more comfortable for me to hook. And then this hand comes inside and goes across the other side and slowly flares out that arm till it flares out enough. This arm right here flares out enough that I can sit up and bring that foot inside. Okay, so that would be one way to take the back, or to get that hook in. All right. So with that hook in, there's a more advanced position, I would say, that you can go to called the truck. And it's in the lower levels, the truck position itself is legal, but a lot of the submissions from the truck are not. And so people will oftentimes, there's an arm bar and a few other things. So that's why I say it's, I mean, that and the fact that there's, it's kind of a delicate position, I would say. But totally possible for people with the right body type to easily get into, okay? So I'll start that with the part we just talked about. So we're talking about the hook inside. So if I've got the hook inside, right? So I'm here, and I got this hook inside, and ideally, I would have this hook over his foot. All right, but it's okay if I don't. It's just best if I do because of how the position ends up, right? And so if I get that hook inside, there's a couple ways to do this. One way is to grab the shin. Another way is to grab the leg around the thigh. I've even had somebody reach back, which is like worst case or best case scenario for me, because it puts me in the twister, which is it's an advanced, maybe more like an intermediate position, but in a tournament you can't use it. I don't think at any levels, except for some no-gi tournaments. So, but the truck is there. It's a legitimate concern. So you need to know that it exists. Okay. So you're gonna take their leg like this. You're gonna lean back, and once you've leaned back, this leg comes inside and wraps around in a figure 4, like this. Now we're in the truck. All right. I'm not gonna show you what to do from here because there's a lot of moves that you can try and do from here. But generally speaking, this is the truck position, and this is definitely an intermediate to advanced position, in my opinion. You may already know how to do some of this stuff, and that's cool. Or you may have no idea how I got to this position, so I'll show it again. So we're gonna rewind. So my opponent was in turtle, right? I got my hook inside. That's really splinter. I got my hook inside, and I'm going to roll to get him to come to my truck, right? I can roll forward even. I can roll forward. Most people roll forward because it's easier. There's more momentum to roll forward since all of my base is back here. If I try to pull back, I don't have any base going for me, but if I roll forward, I do. And there's a wall there, so I'll kind of try to do this. But like, I'm gonna duck like this. See, I'm gonna duck. Hard to do without anybody here to help me. But it's easier to go backwards, so I'll go backwards again. So I just pull backwards like this, and then these legs figure 4. So notice this leg was here, and just figure 4s underneath there, and boom, now we're in the truck. Okay. Similarly, I can do the truck without the foot in, but there are ways to defend against this move. So I find that it's easier to do it with a hook in. So you let them have a hook you let them go for the truck. Or I'll talk about that in a second. So if my foot is, if I'm here, right, and I want to go for the truck position, I want to replace this leg with that one. So I'm going to face away. So boom, boom, I'm here. All right, so now that I'm here, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step on my opponent's foot with this back foot. So this knee is on the mat, the hip is in here. I'm here like this, right? Getting ready to grab this. So this foot goes here. I grab this leg like this. I roll, pushing that leg. And then, boom, 3 figure 4. And now I'm back in the truck. Okay? Again, I'm not showing you guys this transition so that you can do it yourself, particularly. Well, I mean, it is important that you practice, as having a step in that direction can help you start to figure out if that's a position that you want to play around with in the future, right? If I do the truck a few times, I'm like, this is fun. I want to try to do this. And it's pretty easy, and you can get into it pretty easily. Definitely play around with it. But know, again, at the beginner's level, you're not going to see this type of moves very much, especially in the gi. No gi, maybe, but again, it is a lot of the stuff from the no gi with the truck is not legal. So, but know that it's there if you're rolling with people is the main thing. Know that it's there if you're rolling with people. Okay, so that is one of the 3 positions that we can get into from here. So there's the back, and then there's the truck. All right. The truck is, like I said, it's super, you need a hook, or you need at least a semblance of a hook. So sometimes even when I come around, if I want to go for truck stuff, right? I want to go for truck stuff, I'm actually going to come in and I'm going to set up my knee in here like this, and I'm going to be here with this over. Then I'm going to try to set up truck stuff. Now, another thing that we want is we want to try to get them back to side control, okay? Again, you don't always go, I'm a master of the turtle, so I'm going to hope they go to turtle and do from there. That is not what happens. What happens is people decide to go to turtle or not, and that's why you don't see it very often, because a lot of people don't go to turtle. So knowing what to do in turtle, or even getting back from turtle into a different position is going to be a really important task, okay? So how do I show this? There's a couple ways we can do this. Let's start with the no-gi, or sorry, the gi way, because we're in the gi. So this is a George special, George Burns, one of our coaches. And it's not an uncommon thing. It's not an unknown thing. It's not like it's super special or anything like that. But he's pretty much the only person I've seen do it, and he definitely does it to me, and it puts me back in side control if he gets it. And it's real easy. It's just what you would think. You grab the lapel, you grab the belt, and you pull them back. Now you don't want to be on your knees to pull them back, obviously. So if I'm here like this, right, and I'm here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to post here and grab the back. I'm going to post off my opponent's back until I get this other foot up, and then just pull them back and over, and then maybe go straight to knee on belly on their side. And that's how we keep them in side control. So we pulled them over, boom, now we're knee on belly. Now we're in a completely different fighting scenario. Okay, super easy. Can be done on just about anybody. But again, and one thing you have to watch out for is the belt slipping around, because it's around, you know. It can go around the waist pretty easily. Look, there's the knot. There's the belt coming around. And it's back around again. So I'm not pulling the belt this way. I'm not pulling the belt around the body. I'm actually lifting the belt up and kind of torquing it to make a handle to pull like this. right? It's different if I this versus this. See what I've done there? So again, I'm here, I want them on their side. I do way better in side control instead of turtle. So I get here, grab the collar, grab the belt, post on them if you need to stand up. Then we create our hook, pull them down, and then once they get down, knee on belly. Okay? And if we were in MMA, this is where we start. Punching. Right? Or maybe if they push up, got our arm bar here that I like. This is the arm bar I like from knee on belly. It's just like a, it's not an inverted arm bar, but it is a arm bar from here. I like to go like this on the pants and hook that, and then pretty easy arm bar right there if they try to push up. Most people will push on the knee though, so try to get it off, and then you just, go to side control. They push it off, come right down to side control, try to keep them from coming back into turtle. That's what we don't want. We don't want them in turtle. We wanted to go someplace else. So we decided not to go into turtle. Okay. Now, another thing that can happen in no-gi especially is you can get guys who get really tight. Okay. I have a friend, Charlie, who is like the master of this. The first time him and I ever did any sort of wrestling, and he went down on the ground, the first thing he did from his wrestling experience is turtle right up. And he got his feet flat, he got his butt to the heels, basically. He got his arms inside, he got his elbows inside. He was tight, and I literally couldn't get anything anywhere. I couldn't wedge a hand inside to get there. And so it was really unknown territory for me. This was a long time ago. But there are guys like that. There are guys like that who get in real tight, and they're like impossible to get a hand in, get a knee in, get a foot in, get an arm in, whatever. So one of the ways to deal with that is to grab the shin near the foot and lift it up. Okay, so essentially what that looks like is Bob here is going to be in this real behind position. Come on, Bob, work with me. It's going to be real tight. He's going to be in here like this. I don't like where he's at. So I was here and I was here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach back. I'm going to grab his shin like this. And then I'm going to adjust myself to pull up on a shin like this. And most people will bump forward. And then when they bump forward, they start making space because they're kind of going face first, right? So they start making space. Then you can attack into your opponent as well. Okay, so just real simply, like I said, if you're here and here, and you're like got your opponent, and you don't know what to do. You're trying to get a choke on, nothing's happening. So put pressure on the back, grab that shin, and pull it up, and it should cause them to bump forward. Then you can go back to your attacks or whatever. Again, it would be nice to have a body to show you guys a little bit more of the reaction that your opponent has so you can play with it. But I think basics class should be focused primarily on step one moves, right? Not a do this and then do that and then do this, but just do this. Like you guys, like if you're watching this for basic moves, it's important that you guys know like the one step, the one thing that you need to do to get into the position. And if another thing comes off of it, that's great. But if it's a reaction, that's different, right? So if I do something in it for a reaction so that I can then do something else, that's starting to get into your intermediate level, right? But if I do something to set something up and I can sit with it for a while, that I think is more of a basic move. So this is the basic move to get them to move so that you can play around with it, right? So you want to become more advanced. What are your options? Figure it out, okay? All right. The last thing I want to leave you with before I jet out of here. I know it's only half an hour class, but can't see you guys, so I can't help you out if you have any questions. You could ask questions or put comments in. But I want to show you this interesting calf crank ankle, or it's a calf crank. If you don't know what a calf crank is, it's essentially anything where there's a arm or a leg in between the knee of somebody else, and then you pull up on the knee. Okay, so I'll show you how this works. So you got this hook in, right? Let's get the hook in, and not only do you have the hook in, but you also have the hook over the leg. So let me just set this up. Well, my leg does not want to move, does it? Okay. All right. So this would be easier for some people, like I said. Myself, unfortunately, not necessarily. All right. So trying to show this. Turn this way. There we go. All right. So this position right here is the deepest hook that you can get in the hooks in, right? Not only do I have the hook in, but I also have this foot over. Okay, so I got the hook in. My knee's flexible enough. I was able to rotate my hip enough to get that foot up and over as I get the hook in. Some, like for me, it's a little difficult. For other people, could be like walking, right? And if that's you, killer, right? But if you get this hook in here and this foot sort of dangly, like loose a little bit, it's real easy to reach back like this and pull on that leg like that. Okay, so again, this is a situation where, you know, you got that hook in, and in the process of getting the hook in, you were able to get it real deep, because maybe you're like, I'm gonna play with the truck. I'm gonna play with the back, because you don't want to get this deep on the back, but you want to get this deep on the truck. This is, like I said, it's another, I think this is a catch wrestling maneuver. So if you have the ability to slide this in and get to this position, right, this is a good attacking position. And then all you got to do is get those hands underneath that foot, pull it up, and then it'll crank across the shin. All right, this is a catch wrestling position. Now, I've showed you all these because I want you to know not only what you can do to your downed opponent, but what your opponent can do to you if you are downed as well. If they don't want you to stay turtled, they have the opportunity to change your position using a little bit of leverage and force, okay? And sometimes it's flowing leverage, and sometimes it's flexibility leverage, and sometimes it's sheer brute strength. So if you're following my elements curriculum, each of these is more geared toward different styles, the different styles, okay? I would say grabbing your opponent and pulling them off is probably more earth style, because you're using force, right? You're actually using force. You're forcing your opponent. You're using pressure to force your opponent to do whatever move that you want them to do. So that was what you did there. You're like, I'm gonna grab a hold of this and I'm gonna yank you back. Boom, earth style, right? Now, the truck, this is why I consider the truck an advanced position, because it actually borders on two different styles. It borders on a water style that flows a little bit more, and it borders on an air style, which is, you know, creating space, changing the angle, taking that space away. Okay, because that's essentially what you're doing. You're creating space to get your hook in. You're changing the angle at which you're attacking, and then you're taking that space away by going from this position to a more tighter position. So that's why I don't go into the truck too much, because it's more of an amalgam of styles. but it is there for people to see. And then the back, of course, is open for anybody who's interested in it. But I will say it has different styles as well. Professor Brooks, who's also a bigger fellow like me, he's not as big as I am, but he is a bigger fellow. He told me, you know, that as a bigger guy, one of his games, while he knows the back and he knows how to defend against the back, he would never in a live competition fully take the back, right? He would actually use a variation of the hook that the almost like the truck hook, but on the back. So and there's a different he showed a different choke, which was really cool, really basic choke, but he used that move there to open up the hook so he could get the hook inside. So, you know, so hook inside, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to use your positioning here and here to actually open them up a little bit more. So open up. Then when you're ready, when they start to collapse onto you, right, you come like this and you're on their back and you use the lower leg position to get your figure four like this, see? And then so now, once I'm here and I'm in this figure four position, I can actually choke you with my hand inside. So if my hand is deep like this, I can get this figure four, grab your head and extend and pull. And that will also choke you, right? So I just wanted to show you guys that because I think it's cool as a big guy that I do have options. So big or small, short or tall, you always have options in terms of what you can attack and your position and what position you want, okay? All right, so this class will still be at 6 next week, and will continue to be at 6 until lockdown is over. But once lockdown is over, we will return to 5 for people who want to go back to regular class, because I do occasionally go to regular class. So I appreciate everyone who stopped by to see what's going on, and we will resume class next week. Next week, I'm either going to do takedowns and throws for a couple of days since Thanksgiving's next week, or I may just go right back to the guard position since we've covered all the what I consider basic positions in jiu-jitsu, because that's what this is. Cycle. So we cycle back, we cover one position and then the next, and from different angles and so on. So we'll see what I can get together next week. But in the meantime, have a great weekend, weekend, everybody. And I'll see you guys next Monday.